By the late 19th century, the Impressionists had firmly established a new rule for art. The true subjects of painting were light and color. But George Seurat saw a flaw in their process. Because they painted outdoors in the moment, relying on rapid, intuitive brushstrokes, the results were inconsistent, varying wildly from one canvas to the next. Seurat rejected this reliance on fleeting inspiration. He wanted a systematic foundation for painting, a method that could be explicitly taught, explained, and repeated. He approached the canvas like a mathematical problem, applying the cold, rigorous logic of an engineer to the act of painting. He didn't want to merely observe light. He wanted to calculate and control it. It was an ambition that launched an obsessive 2-year project that would define his short life. To build his system, Seurat abandoned artistic instinct and turned directly to scientific color theorists. He studied the chemist Eugene Chevreul, who proved the principle of complementary colors. Chevreul showed that placing opposite colors next to each other intensifies both. Red beside green looks redder and greener. Seurat also integrated Ogden Rood's research on optical mixing. Rood found that tiny, distinct dots of color placed side by side blend inside the eye. This produces a vibrant luminosity that blended wet paint cannot achieve. Seurat synthesized these findings into a rigid method we now call pointillism. Every mark on the canvas was deliberately calculated, leaving nothing to accident. His new system's ultimate test, a Sunday on Lagrange Jot. Executing this massive canvas took 2 years and 48 preparatory studies, mapping out every shadow and patch of grass. The result is a vibrant world, frozen like a held breath. When he displayed the piece at the 1886 Impressionist exhibition, it immediately split the art community. The older painters were skeptical of the technique, while younger artists were electrified. The friction was so intense that his work had to be hung in a separate room. To categorize this approach, the critic Félix Fénéon coined a new term, neo-impressionism. At 26 years old, Seurat had successfully used the rigor of an engineer to move beyond the loose methods of his predecessors. Yet, in contrast to his highly visible public triumph, Seurat maintained an intensely guarded private existence. The people in his professional circle knew very little about him. He lived a quiet life with his mother, hiding his true self from almost everyone. In March of 1891, he fell suddenly ill, likely with diphtheria. He died just days later at the age of 31. Following his death, his family discovered he had been concealing a mistress and a young son. Neither had ever been mentioned to his closest associates. The man who spent years calculating the exact placement of every dot on his canvas had successfully hidden an entire second life from the world. His infant son contracted the same disease and died mere weeks later. The woman who had shared his secret life disappeared from the record, leaving behind an unfinished canvas sitting on his easel. This photograph shows Paul Signac, a peer who carried the method forward. Without Seurat, the movement changed. No one worked with his obsessive precision. Seurat proved that the boundaries of science could produce profound artistic beauty. The movement he founded outlasted him, but the unique precision that defined it died with him at 31.